Much. Lee Anderson.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. Now then, if we control what students in universities can listen to, then we're controlling what they can think and the type of person they will become. Now that may work in places like North Korea and possibly within the Labour Party, but it has no place in our society, and this bill will strengthen free speech and academic freedom at universities. It's not the Labour Party's job or anyone else's to control who we listen to. Now, the Champagne Socialists, the Islington elite, the trade unions may agree with the Labour Party, but most of the country do not. We fought and won a war to protect our freedoms, and freedom of speech, in my mind, is the most important freedom we have. And let's not forget, universities are there to supply our great country with scientists, mathematicians, doctors, lawyers, school teachers, nurses, etc., not to provide us with state-sponsored political activists who only have one opinion or one goal in life. Our young people should be able to flourish at university and be open to all kinds of debate. Let them make their own mistakes, form their own opinions and ask their own questions. Do not dictate to them who they can and cannot listen to. By voting against this bill, Labour are saying that our university students are not capable of making their own minds up. It's a bit like the Brexit debate when they told my residents in Ashfield and Eastwood that they were thick, they were stupid, they were racist, they didn't know what they were voting for. Well, that ended well. That ended up with me being stood here tonight. We know that free speech is being shut down in universities in this country. Professor Joe Phoenix was due to give a talk at Essex University about placing transgender women in women's prisons. Students threatened to barricade the hall. They complained that Mrs Phoenix was a transphobe likely to engage in hate speech. A flyer with an image of a gun and a text reading "Shut the up" was circulating. The university told Miss Phoenix it was postponing the event. And what about the human rights lawyer Rosa Friedman, a radical feminist law professor whose event was cancelled amid allegations of transphobia? She received a passive-aggressive email from a University of Reading student who called her views on gender politics problematic and warned her to choose her words carefully. Selina Todd, an Oxford University professor, had her invitation to a conference celebrating women withdrawn due to pressure from trans activists who threatened to disrupt the event. It's a real shame that we have to legislate to allow free speech, but the biggest shame is that the party opposite will vote against this bill and subsequently vote against free speech. Perhaps, Mr Deputy Speaker, they should all come off Twitter, throw their Guardian newspapers away, leave the tea room and get out there and speak to the millions of voters that they lost at the last election. Let's have some free speech on the doorstep, and maybe that lot opposite will finally realise they have nothing in common with the very people they expect to vote for them. Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker. That's me done.